Okay, we're going to be covering what we call the basic headgear. This is a great piece of equipment, very versatile for doing all different types of your cervical rehabs, whether it be, strengthening the head into retraction, lateral flexion, rotation, whatever the deficiency that you have located in the cervical spine musculature is, this one piece of equipment is going to be able to do all those different things. So we're going to be running through how to properly fit this device, how to properly anchor it, and then how to use our markers to keep us in our safe working zone. First, make sure you got a nice clear area on the floor, no tripping hazards, things like that. We don't want to have a fall. Your SLASTIC should be anchored to your spine or performance station, which should be anchored into a stud, not a commercial stud, but a wood stud or some type of reinforced commercial wall. As you can see here, we're going to take this out to the 0. We're going to go ahead and drop our marker. Then our client or patient can see that right there. We're going to take this out to about our max working zone. So there's the max. We're going to take one step back. Now we need to have the client or patient stay within these 2 dots. Okay, and that's where the work is going to take place. Go ahead and come right up here. So the headgear has a strap that comes off of it. We're going to actually demonstrate why we don't have a D-ring or anything directly on the headgear here in a minute. It adds a feature to this that makes it very unique. So we're going to just do some basic head retraction exercises and some deep cervical flexors. A lot of cervical neck pain is associated with the weakness in the cervical deep flexors. And so we're going to show some solutions for that. The first time I put this device on a patient or client, I actually fit it to them so they can feel how tight it's supposed to be and how to do it. After that, they're perfectly capable of doing it themselves. So initially, I just get this centered where I want it, whether I'm doing some lateral flexion or head extension or whatever I might be doing. I position that anchor where it's advantageous. Now you'll squeeze this down and it should be pretty snug because this equipment is designed not to slip on the head. I can kind of demo that. I can actually pull her around pretty good. So thank you. What we're going to do is there's her dot, so she's already there. She's going to turn and face our spine, and obviously we put the anchor in the direction that we want to resist against. So we're all hooked up. You see we're hooked into the D-rings, so we know we're not slipping off. Even if this tube breaks, it's going to stay within the safety sleeve. It's not going to come shooting at her eye or anything like that. And we're anchored into our solid anchor. Now she's within her working space. You see there's a little dip here, so we know in this position, she does not have any resistance. Depending on where your client or your patient is in their rehab, will dictate how much tension you begin them off with. So let's just say this is new, this is fresh, we're just starting to engage them in the active therapy to help strengthen the neck. I prefer to have that small little dip in there so that then when they do their head retraction exercises, they start to get resistance as soon as they move, not before. So go ahead and do a head retraction, good. So you can see we're starting to stretch. Obviously the head's not moving a whole bunch, so we're just seeing the SLASTIC kind of get the little bit of tension in it. Now if they progress and they're ready to handle some more, you go ahead and have them take another little step back, you can work them back further because this is progressive resistance. The further they get away from your anchor, the more the resistance is actually going to increase. So now another component to this that we can do, why we have this strap, go ahead and turn and face the camera. Now we're actually generating a rotational component to this. So if you have a situation where your client has a lack of range of motion to one side or weakness to one side, with this anchor, just like this, you can go ahead and get the rotational component in there. Go ahead and turn and look the other way. As you see, the anchor, the strap, follows the padding. You don't have to have the anchor right connected to the head. It just gives you a much more comfortable feel and allows the headgear to be more versatile. We didn't have to unclip from the front and then reclip into the side or anything like that. We just simply turn, okay? All right, our next, what we're gonna work on is deep cervical flexors. Turn and face the anchor. Simply just unhook, up, and you can choose which angle you're gonna need to get the best leverage for activating the deep cervical flexors. The way I prefer to activate my the deep cervical flexors is I get their chin just a little bit up, and you try to have them draw their head down in between their shoulders. If you look at the deep cervical flexors, they all attach to the anterior portion of the spine. That's the direction they pull. They actually promote a nice lordosis in the neck. And so when you strengthen those, you're going to improve that. And so you want to be sure to draw that in and really activate those deep cervical flexors. Great.